Today on Ag Etc., I visit with Kaden and Emily Roush about their niche pork operation brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Association. Learn how they have utilized the soybean checkoff to advocate for agriculture and to market their pork products. Then I visit with K-State Forage agronomist John Holman. He talks about the just released K-State Summer Annual Forage Hay and Silage Variety Trial Report, which evaluated over 200 hay and silage lines for their productivity and feed quality. Learn how this resource could have an impact on your operation. Then I visit with this week's Young Leader in Ag, Derek Stahl and Gwen Van Leeuwen. Shawnee County 4-H Fair, King and Queen. Finally, I travel to Whitewater, Kansas to speak with Jeff Sollo, Marketing Director for Grace Hill Winery. Learn the story behind this unique vineyard in central Kansas and how they were affected by COVID-19. It's all coming up on Ag Etc. Stay tuned.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Ag Etc. Next, we hear from Kaden and Emily Roush about their niche pork operation brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Association.
So here at our family farms, we've got a farrow to finish swine facility. So we raise pigs from birth all the way to market weight. We do things quite a bit differently than a lot of people that try to raise pigs. We are niche marketers, so we've got a special breed of pigs. We raise Berkshires. They taste better than the normal pig that you would find, but they have some drawbacks. They don't grow as fast and that sort of thing. And then we also raise our pigs in hoop barns. So we're outside. All the pigs are outside in barns versus being in a commodity barn. What we do allows us to do things on a much smaller scale. So Emily and I came back to the farm in 2015 after graduating from Kansas State. My family's got a farming operation here. We row crop around 2,500 acres of corn and soybeans. Cut back on wheat in the past couple years and a little bit of sorghum too. But as most people in the agricultural economy know, the last 5 years haven't been that great as far as profitability, so we had to find something to set us apart in the operation and do something different. There wasn't enough room in the family farm for us to come back to, which is why we kind of launched our family farms and the pig deal, aside from what my parents were doing.
I think about 4 years ago now, we went on our first food tour with Kansas Soybean Checkoff. There's a couple other entities involved with that as well, but we have had such a great time being able to connect. It goes back to our purpose on our farm of being able to connect to consumers. And by doing those food tours, we're talking with influencers, whether they're bloggers or maybe not necessarily blogging, but Instagram, that sort of thing, as well as dietitians who have influence on a whole bunch of people's lives and their nutritional aspect. So those have been really enlightening for us. And I feel like it makes a major impact on the people that we go with as well, because they are able to make that connection that their farmers aren't that far away from them in the grand scheme of things.
And one of the things that Checkoff gets involved in with it and really emphasizes with those food tours is allowing an opportunity for those online influencers to ask the tough questions that they're not really sure about. That's a lot of the focus of those, is to get those influencers in direct contact with the people that are out there doing and being able to ask the hard questions and getting answers that are truthful and accurate. So I've actually had a really great opportunity to be a part of the 2019/2020 class of the Kansas Soybean Association's Emerging Leaders group. And the main focus of that academy is to get these individuals exposure to the industry and every asset of the industry that's out there. There's so much that we've learned through the program. just as far as how big the soybean picture is nationally and internationally, and what we can play a part in it here as farmers in Kansas. So what I really like about the checkoff, is the amount of effort and emphasis they put in on research and development, and especially with developing new products and finding substitutes for products that we currently use. Soybeans are a green, renewable resource, and as an oil crop, have a lot of additional benefits to them. And the soybean checkoff is pushing a lot of effort into that program. And then, this year in particular, the lobbying efforts of the association and what they do in the state government as well as the national government. They're out there fighting the battle for the farmer so that we don't have to do it. And that's something I'm particularly proud of, because I don't have the tools and resources nor the time to get out and do some of that stuff, and the checkoff has the ability to do it.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source, together we grow.
Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to western Kansas.
These days, no one can afford to take the risk of being without financial protection against high health care costs, not even for a few days. Kansas Farm Bureau health plans offer short-term health care coverage to fill in those temporary gaps. Short-term health plans can provide you with medical coverage when you are between health plans, helping lower your potential financial risk. Learn more at kfbhealthplans.com or contact a Farm Bureau financial services agent near you.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome back to Ag AM in Kansas. I'm Britton Rucker. And for you livestock producers, there's a new resource available to you for knowing more about summer annual forages and their productivity. Kansas State has just posted their latest edition of the Summer Annual Forage, Hay, and Silage Variety Trial Report. And the man who helped put all this data together is with me now, John Holman, K-State Forage Agronomist. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
Now, John, this report evaluated over 200 hay and silage lines for their productivity and feed quality.
That's correct. This is, historically, K-State provided this information, going way back, the 50s, 60s. And then, it was something that we were not doing for about 20 years. And this is something that myself and some others started back up about 5 years ago. So we're glad to provide this valuable resource. It's something that a lot of Kansas producers utilize, as well as people from all the surrounding states. We get calls from all the surrounding states for the data we generate.
Can you give producers an overview of really what they're going to see in this report?
So we do this testing at 3 different locations in the state. Garden City in southwest Kansas, where I am located, and that is done under irrigation. We also conduct a test at Hayes under dryland conditions, and our cooperator there is Dr. Augustino Bohr. And then we also conduct a test near Scandia with Scott Dooley. And then myself, Dr. Holman, I am coordinate all the testing for the state. We analyze, or we evaluate all many different types of warm seasonal species. So we look at for both hay and silage. So we look at forage sorghum, sorghum sudan, millet, corn. In the past, we've looked at teff, and then occasionally we also look at some cool seasonal species as well. In the past, we've looked at oats, barley, triticale, but look, the primary testing is in these warm season annual forages.
Mm-hmm. John, where can people find a copy of this annual report?
Sure. Well, the easiest place to find it is to go to the KSU agronomy website, and on there look at the crop performance testing, and there they can click on forages, and they will find all of the year's reports at that location. Or they can certainly contact me directly, and I'd be happy to provide them that information.
Absolutely. Well, John, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Brayton Rucker, and this has been Ag AM in Kansas.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for that grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm, so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, and we're glad to answer and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Farm Credit Associations of Kansas, lending support to rural America, and by American Ag Service, your DuPont Pioneer dealer.
Welcome back to Ag AM in Kansas. I'm Brayton Rucker, and today I have a little treat for you guys. I have two young leaders in ag with me now, Derek and Gwen, who are the Shawnee County Fair King and Queen. So just to kick it off, Derek, will you give us a bit of your ag background?
Yeah, ever since I was born, I've been introduced with sheep and goats. I've shown sheep for 11 years and goats for 6. So I've bred sheep for 11 years, and then I've bred goat for 4.
Yeah, and I'll kick it off to you, Gwen.
Ever since I was younger, I loved rabbits, and so I had a rabbit named Lego, and I showed him for about 6 years. I did showmanship, I did breed ID, and so I was very involved in the rabbit project, and it was one of my favorite projects in 4-H.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are 16 and 17, right there at the deciding, exciting college, deciding age. Have you guys thought about where you might be headed in the future?
Yeah, I plan to attend Washburn University and get a degree in forensic chemistry to work at the Kansas Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going to Wichita State or Pitt State to go into engineering.
Very good. Okay, so tell me a bit about your Fair King Queen, how those titles are assigned and the process with that.
So back in April is when applications are sent out, and the candidates fill out an application, go through an interview process. We have to prepare a speech, and then this year, with the conditions, it was all on Zoom.
And as you guys are King and Queen, what are your responsibilities associated with those titles?
Our responsibilities as King and Queen is to promote 4-H to our community and to help others, to encourage them to learn more about 4-H and to have them join 4-H so they can learn new things.
So as participants in 4-H, what are the benefits of being in 4-H to those who are potentially interested?
You make a lot of new friends, and for me it's been public speaking. Before I was really involved in 4-H, I was the shy kid that wouldn't talk to anybody, but now I have worked myself up to giving speeches at national conferences.
Yeah, and Gwen?
I was shy also when I was younger, and Forage has really helped me in my public speaking, has really grown my self-confidence, and I have learned so many life skills that I know I'm going to use in my future.
And for those interested in potentially having your title in the future, where would they go to find information?
You can find information to join 4-H on the Shawnee County Extension website. It's under the 4-H Youth and Development segment.
When we return, even though it's early, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? I talk with Jeff Sollo, Marketing Director for Grace Hill Winery in Whitewater, Kansas. You don't want to miss it.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need. From prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop. Liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Welcome back to Ag AM in Kansas. I'm Britton Rucker, and I'm sure most of you recognize this bottle from your local liquor store, and today I'm getting the full story behind it. I'm at Grace Hill Winery in Whitewater, Kansas. Looking for an authentic vineyard experience right here in Kansas? Look no further than Grace Hill Winery. Located just 30 minutes north of Wichita, this family-ran vineyard is the perfect place to come escape from the craziness of today. Jeff Sollo tells how this winery came to be.
My dad, who was a physician in Wichita, had a midlife crisis about 2003. Decided we always had a big garden in town, and he decided he wanted to buy a place in the country to mess around on, is what he told us. And so bought a quarter section, so 160 acres here just outside of Whitewater, Kansas. So we're about 15 miles north of Wichita. And we started that first year, we kind of cleared out it was an abandoned homestead. So we cleared all the old buildings, and then he wanted to start his big project in the spring of 2004, which he didn't tell us about until late March 2004. A bunch of vines showed up at our door in Wichita, Kansas. So we started planting that year as kind of a hobby, and then hobby kind of got out of control. And then the next thing we know, we had more grapes we knew what to do with. Started making wine out of them, and then had more wine than we knew what to do with. So decided to really go for it and start a winery. So we opened the winery in June of 2008, and we started real small that year. I think we did about 1,500 bottles or so. And we've grown a lot over the last 12 years. We'll do about 80,000 bottles or so this year. So we've grown a lot. We do everything right here. We grow the grapes, we press them, we age them, we bottle them, we sell them all right here at the winery.
And how does one make wine in Kansas? Jeff tells us the secrets they've learned along the way.
You got to make a lot of bad wine before you start making any good wine, that's for sure. We went to a lot of different events around the Midwest. We went to all the different growers conferences, the winemakers conference, because we're not growing Cabernet, Chardonnay here in Kansas. There's not a huge textbook, of how this is supposed to be done. So you're kind of learning on the fly. So we've had to kind of refine our techniques as far as the grape growing's gone, and as far as the winemaking goes too. And so we really there's a lot of trial and error basically. And so now we think we've got it pretty well refined. We do all sorts of different wines. We do, red, white, sweet, dry. We do fortifieds. We do a sangria in a can. I mean, you kind of name it at this point. We've tried it. Some with better successes than others, but for sure, it's been a really fun kind of adventure. We always kind of wanted the strategy of we wanted you to be able to find our wines wherever you were. Life in the 21st century is all about convenience, so we wanted you to be able, if you wanted to have our wines, we wanted you to be able to find them wherever you could. So we self-distribute, so basically we load up our van every week and we take the wines directly from the winery to the liquor stores. And so that's worked out really well for us. We're in about 115 liquor stores around the area now. We're actually going to open up a tasting outlet in Kansas City here hopefully in the next couple of months. So we're looking forward to kind of going up there as well. There's nothing quick or easy about making wine. And that starts with the grapes. So we get the grapes, we get them kind of as first year starters. Usually we buy them from a nursery in New York actually. At Cornell University is kind of the main sort of hybrid grape sort of manufacturer, I guess you'd call them. So they'll send us grapes that will actually grow here in Kansas. We put them in the ground that first year. That first year, just trying to get them to whatever trellis that they're on. It's probably kind of hard to see behind me, but we have some that are on kind of high wires that kind of basically are they kind of grow down, and then we have some that are on low wires over here, and they grow up. And so the first year, you're trying to kind of get them on that trellis. And so then the second year, it's really trying to get them to spread their wings, which is their cordons, which are kind of, so this would be the trunk. I'll make myself a human vine here. This would be the trunk, and then these would be the cordons, which are kind of the shoots that go off each side. And then off of the cordons, to grow the fruiting canes. And so it takes you about 3 years to really get good fruiting canes. So when you put a vine in the ground, you're usually going to have to wait 3 years before you actually get any grapes off of it. So we'll do that. We'll get them in the ground. We'll get the grapes on them. We'll pick the grapes, and then we'll do the crushing on the fermenting right here. Usually harvest goes on through August and September. And so we'll ferment them for a couple weeks. You take them, you crush them, you put them into their tanks. They add a little yeast to them, and that starts the fermentation process. Usually that lasts about 2 weeks or so as the yeast goes in there, eats up all the sugar from the grapes, and converts that into alcohol. From there, we'll put them into tanks or barrels, and our sweet wines usually are in tanks about 6 to 8 months or so. And then our drier wines that go into barrels, those are usually anywhere from a year to 3 years or so. So, I mean, if you're talking about a barreled wine from a vine, you got to wait 3 years for the grapes and then another 1 to 3 for the actual wine to go into a bottle. So like I said, there's nothing quick or easy about it. But it's really cool in that we can kind of take something, that we've totally made here ourselves and make it a very local product.
Stay tuned to learn how this winery has been affected by the pandemic. It's all coming up on Ag Etc. Stay tuned.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
These days, no one can afford to take the risk of being without financial protection against high health care costs. Not even for a few days. Kansas Farm Bureau health plans offer short-term health care coverage to fill in those temporary gaps. Short-term health plans can provide you with medical coverage when you are between health plans, helping lower your potential financial risk. Learn more at kfbhealthplans.com or contact a Farm Bureau financial services agent near you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
And due to the pandemic, Grace Hill has experienced some changes in the past few months.
In the liquor stores, we've seen a little bit of an uptick actually, because people are just hanging out at home drinking right now, so there's not a whole lot else to do. So as far as that goes, it's been okay. Here at the winery though, we've taken a pretty good hit. We do all sorts of events here usually. We'll do build your own wine days where we bring up wines from the cellar and let people mix them. They can send in their picture ahead of time, and they go home with their very own bottle of wine that they blended. It has their own label on it. It's very cool. We do, concerts and things like that out here, but with COVID, we can't really do much of anything, unfortunately. So we're doing tastings by appointment. So we've kind of taken our event center, which we do usually, it'd be heavy wedding season right now as well. But we're not doing a ton of weddings, and we're pretty much capping it, 40, 50 people or so. So we've kind of made our event center into our tasting room. So we can have people kind of sitting at tables. We don't have anybody at our bar in our tasting room currently. So you just come into our event center. We kind of have tasting stage where you walk up, you get your pour, you go and you sit back down with your group in your little bubble sort of thing, and kind of hang out there and do some tasting that way. But it's been weird, and it's been, all things considered, we're in a pandemic. You got to kind of adapt however you can. So. We're kind of rolling with the punches as best we can. It's been okay overall, I guess.
And for those wanting to sip on a nice, refreshing glass of Grace Hill's finest wines, you might want to call before you come.
So we've set up tastings by appointment. So we're open from noon until 6, Thursday through Monday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And you can come and you can make an appointment online, or you can call the tasting room and make an appointment that way. And you come in, you can do a tasting in the tasting room. So we have 3 different flights you can do. We have a sweet flight, we have a dry flight, and then we have our cellar series flight, which is kind of our tasting room only stuff. It's kind of our most premium wines as well as our sort of most experimental wines. Like we have bourbon barrel aged wine. Our whiskey to wine is on our cellar series list. It's been very popular. And so you can come here and do that. Usually we do tours. We're not doing tours currently. Unfortunately, it's just too many people in small spaces. But we are still open for tastings, tours, we have lots of outdoor space to kind of come and hang out. So if you don't want to do a tasting, you can just come out, get a glass of wine or a bottle of wine, hang out on our patio, enjoy the pretty view, and kind of enjoy yourself. We have meat and cheese trays here, and you're welcome to bring your own food in as well. So if you do want to come and hang out and spend an afternoon, we can do that. You can find us, we're on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter at Grace Hill Winery. And then you can find us on our website, it's gracehillwinery.com.
For Ag AM in Kansas, I'm Britton Rucker. Thanks for watching Ag Etc. As always, I'm Britton Rucker, and I'll see you here next week here on Ag AM in Kansas.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.